Christian parenting.
Welcome to the Living Wholehearted podcast. We are Jeff and Tara Matson, a husband and wife team who is shrinking the integrity gap in our own lives and helping others do the same. I'm a leadership and organizational development coach, and Tara is a licensed marriage and family therapist.
We believe that if you have a following, you are a leader, and how you lead matters. Whether you are leading in the home, work, or community, we are bringing you biblical, clinical, and relational wisdom to help you in every relationship that matters most to you. None of us do this perfectly, but we are leaning into the reality of our humanity and profound wisdom of grace. We are excited to continue our dialogue, and as you can hear, we have children with us today. They're already giggling as they're thinking about sharing all about our lives in our family, the Matsons. We're talking about core value index and how to raise a child in the way that they are bent so they won't depart from it as they're an adult, and how that impacts our daily life.
Well, basically, it just translates into this: do as I tell you to do, please. Just kidding.
That's because he's a builder.
No.
And builders just say it like it is.
No. Does that work, guys? When anybody, mom or dad, tells you what to do all the time, does that work for you?
No.
No, exactly. And that's the point of today. It's actually about when we come to you, hopefully, in ways in which you are wired, God made you, and we honor that things come out and you want to be a part of things and do things differently, right? We both know that you both do not do the dishwasher the same, correct?
Yes, it drives me crazy when
People do it wrong. There is a right way and a wrong way for bankers.
And Nevi, it is a right and a wrong way for her too. Mainly, let's have fun and let's get it done fast. Right, Nevs?
Yes.
All right, so let's introduce our daughters. Why don't you guys tell us how old you are and what grade you're at this point in life?
I'm Adonaiah, and I'm 13 years old, and I'm going into 8th grade.
And I'm Nevea, and I'm in 6th grade, and I'm 11 years old.
Okay, so give us your CVI, your core values index. You guys share yours, and then we'll share ours.
Yeah, you want them just to share what their top two are, or just
All
about
four.
what they want to know? Yeah, go for it, Dad.
I am 19 banker, 19 innovator, 18 merchant, and 16 builder, so I'm squared.
Yeah, and I'm 24 merchant, 20 builder, 18 innovator, and 10 banker.
So basically, Nevi's top two are merchant and builder, but she's got a really strong innovator that's right there, and a little teeny banker like her mommy and daddy. And then there's Adonaiah, who's more square, she said. It's because all her numbers are really close, and so she can shift starting in banker and innovator. They go back and forth really fast, and then she's got a strong merchant builder that are also right behind, and so she can access all four. Jeff, what are you?
Yeah, me as dad, 25 merchant, 21 builder, 15 innovator, and 11 banker.
And as mom, I am a 28 merchant, a 26 innovator, a 12 banker, and I have a little 7 builder. And when we say little, we're talking about a number that's below 11. And honestly, there's part of beauty of being able to own the fact that we have smaller core values, and it just means that we're not motivated there. We're demotivated in that core value. Doesn't mean it's not important. It just means that we lose our energy right away.
And a low number isn't bad and a high number isn't good. It just is like a fingerprint. And we know that God has even identical twins think differently, speak differently, conflict differently. We're all different. No one has our fingerprint.
So I'm laughing because these girls have merchants as parents. So merchants like to talk. So can you imagine the lectures in our home when we are not at our best parenting? We've got a lot of words.
They are very long.
Very, very, very
They're supposed to be, as a clinician, 10 words or less, but it doesn't work very well for merchants. So let's...
I've prepared a really good lecture to begin right now, if you'd like. Nevi, are you ready?
No.
Okay, so Nevea, why don't you tell us a little bit about how knowing your core values has impacted our family? Like, what's it like knowing your wiring?
Probably being able to tell when somebody's in their different, core value. And so if me and Addie were working on a project together and Addie was in her banker mood, she would probably want to have the details already and correct. And I would probably, if I was in my builder, probably just want to get it done.
That's a great
Awesome.
way of saying that.
Addie, what about you?
Well, for me, it helps me understand my family better. So, and like get along with them in different ways. And for instance, so my parents and my sister love to talk. So after church, they'll stay there forever talking with their friends.
You know that we're right here, right? You said
Yes.
my parents. You can just say mom and dad,
Oh,
like you
true.
guys.
Your audience.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so, and then I'm a merchant too, but not as high as my parents or my family is. And so I'll be kind of done after church and hanging out with my friends versus they want to go on talking and stuff like that with their friends.
So your people bucket gets drained. You've already hung out at church with people.
Yeah.
And so to extend that, you're kind of ready to move on towards reading or a project or something a little less people oriented. While we still have bigger buckets. So we're continuing. Yeah, that's such a great example. Okay, so talk about how has this impacted your relationship with mom and dad, knowing our wirings and your wirings. Why don't you start, Addie?
I think it helps me connect with my parents better. So, for instance, if dad is in his builder, I may be like wanting to hang out with him and connect with him. So I'll maybe go and switch to my builder and go work on a project with him. And that's a way that we can connect. Or if she's in a merchant, she wants to talk, well, maybe I'll change my merchant and talk with her. And so that's
So
how
good.
it helps me connect with my parents better.
Yeah, so good. So you're shifting between those values based on other people in the family, and hopefully we do that with you too. That's a great practical example. Yes.
Nelly.
What about you?
Probably it's helped me to like also connect with you guys because I'm similar to Dad in many ways with my merchant and builder.
Yes.
And I'm similar to my mom with my merchant and innovator because we have long, wise conversations.
We do. So Nevi and I get into these deep philosophical conversations at night. She asks amazing questions in our innovator, and Jeff and Nevi can go play. And if we're out in an adventure, for hours, Nevi's the first one to say, yes, I'm in. And Addie's actually got a lot of adventure in her too, but sometimes her and I will just be more in a like, let's just sit and read and relax mode. So that's awesome. Great examples.
She might find adventure in her books,
Yeah.
and you have a lot of adventures in those books. What are we working through right now, Addie, on the TV that's related to what you've been reading?
Oh, we've been watching the Lord of the Ring movies.
Mm-hmm.
And are the movies the same as the books?
No.
Spoken like a true banker, right there. Yes.
All right, so tell us more. Tell us about school and friends. How has knowing your core values and understanding other people's core values and getting to practice in our home how to honor one another, how is that impacting the confidence that you have, your relationships? So, Nevi, why don't you start?
Probably with my merchant, I can like feel different. I have empathy for the people who I'm getting to know, and in my builder, I just want to get to know them and as soon as possible become friends with them. In my innovator, I want to do fun and interesting things and come up with different ideas of who they are and what they like. And then in my banker, well, there's not really much of that. So it's just
Love you, Nevi.
But that's giving you
awesome.
some grace for yourself when
Yeah.
you go, oops, I forgot that detail there. Or you kind of understand why now, huh? Instead of feeling bad about yourself, you're like, yep, that's just my little banker. I got to slow
my
down.
little
My little baker. Okay, what about you, Addie?
Well, I think, especially in relationships and at school, since my parents are like CBI experts and they tell us about it all the time, I have like the knowledge where I can try to guess and see think about which people might be a merchant, a builder, an innovator, or a banker, and kind of think about, especially in my close friendships, for people who have taken the CVI, like what do I need to do to help grow this relationship, and how can I make that person feel like I'm involved versus trying to be just in one spot that they're not quite in.
That is really a really great point. Like you're looking at people. Both of you do it from a different place. Nevi does it from a merchant where she feels people, and you do it primarily from what you know about this instrument. You cited the core values. You said, "I wonder what they are," and you know things about those things that are like clues that you use, especially if people haven't taken the assessment. These values show up, right? Who are the most chatty people in the core values?
The merchants.
Yeah, and who are the most people who love to just get stuff done?
The builders.
And who are the people who hold the details?
The bankers.
And who are the people who love to think about options and ideas and looking for the right solution?
The innovators.
Look at this, and that's you taking that knowledge and then applying it in real time, just with people you see at school and people you interact with. I wonder what they might be. And that question is a question that Daddy's asking all the time. I ask that of God. God, help me to see people, my clients, my people in my life. Help me to see them the way that you designed them so that I can love them well, that I can help draw out the best in our relationship. I can contribute to the relationship, just like you said there, Addie. That was awesome. And Nevi, I love what you said about empathy. That was really, really cool, honey, because the world needs more empathy. That's like one of the most important gifts that people can give each other. And you're wired to do that all day long, every day. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's so fun to start seeing how God put us four together as a family. And as the listeners, you're thinking about your family. There was a lot of intentionality and how the differences help us grow in maturity to consider others and their needs, like you were talking about, both of you. All right, talk a little bit about your relationship with God and how is knowing your core values and the design of who you are, how is that impacting your walk with God and your faith and your confidence? Why don't you go, Addie?
I think as I think about like my wiring, I can think about the different pieces that like I guess my struggles and how I can think about when they kind of come up. And so thinking about when I'm in like banker and builder and I'm trying to work on a project with my family, and I'm wanting to get it done really detailed and kind of just get it done, I might become a little impatient. And so thinking about that, I can kind of come up with that and ask for patience from God and stuff. And I love to like learn about history and things. And so of like the Bible side of that versus my sister might like to think about more of like the adventures you could have with that. So yeah.
Tell us about, if you would, tell us a little bit about how God's helped you with your anxiety. Like, and that relates to your core values?
Oh, as a banker, I guess I think about maybe, and an innovator, I tend to think about a lot of, like, all the stuff that could happen.
Yeah.
And so that tends to bring a lot of anxiety and all the things I don't know. And so I have, over time, worked on, and asked God to help me with that. And so I've been able to use, like, and change that in my wiring, like, not in my wiring, but think about different things.
Yeah. So as a parent, when you were little, that banker, we could tell because we knew the core values. We guessed that you had banker in you, but you were more cautious and more wanting to think about understanding things first before you tried it. So think about swimming, learning to swim. So we had to think through, okay, your anxiety, the nervousness and saying, no, I don't want to, was your little way of saying, I need more information. And now at 13 years old, you can say, Mom, I need to know more about this camp that you're going to sign me up for. And I'll let you read the emails. I'll let you go online and actually explore the website. You can watch videos, but that's information that helps calm that anxiety that we didn't know was a part of that wiring. But using your wiring to help calm anxieties. And Nevi, you have anxiety too in a different way. Mommy has anxiety in a different way. So we will talk about that more in a little bit. But I want to go back to your walk with God, Nevi. How is knowing your wiring, knowing you're a merchant, builder, innovator, how is that impacting your walk with God or your confidence about who you are?
Probably just being able to like know that he's with me, even though if like there's a friend problem and I want to be able to help because of my empathy, but I know if I get in there, there'll be a lot of conflict, and that's like, it makes me confused, like, am I supposed to help? Am I not supposed to help? So he brings me peace to that and saying, just leave it be and continue to just be you instead of getting into all that conflict. Also with like my innovator, and I don't really, unlike Addie, she likes to think about all the different things that happened. I sometimes just kind of skip that detail, also using my builder, and I'm just
Do
like,
you know?
let's just try it out and see what happens. And if I start doing it and I don't like it, then I try a different way, and then I don't like that way, and I find a way that I do like. Just he kind of guides me to that way, and just kind of shows me like, oh, okay, this is, you can be able to go down this path without having any anger or anxiety. And yeah.
I love it. You guys are talking about how your wirings or Addie needs to know more and to lean into what is true about God, about the situation. And Nevi, you're more like, I'm going to feel my way through and I'm going to trust that God's just showing me and I'm going to try it out. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to back off.
Yeah. And Addie, I actually probably need to apologize. You didn't know where I was going to ask you that question about your anxiety. So I'm sorry about that. And by the way, to the banker, that actually is an important detail that Dad's been working on ever since she was born, and with all of the banker friends in my life, that they don't want to be put on the spot. So I'm sorry about that. Will you forgive me?
Yeah.
Okay. You handled it well, really well, but that was a curveball I threw at you.
It wasn't in my notes.
It wasn't in your notes. It wasn't the prepared. And you know what? Let's talk about that because this was in your notes. What is it like being the only banker in a family with 3 family members that tend to be more on the spot? We're all 3 of us are a little more spontaneous and we throw curveballs like that. What's it like being a banker in our family?
It can be really good and fun at times and really hard. I kind of think so. I'm able to use it to kind of help you guys in different areas and kind of use that, I guess, as to contribute to the family.
Like how so? I can think of something.
Okay.
Like where Mom and I will be like, "Hey, Addie, do you remember that conversation we had a couple weeks ago? And how did that work out?" And you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I remember everything." And you're like, "This is what you guys decided on." We're like, "Thank you, Addie."
Yeah. So things like that. And then it can be kind of hard at times too because I'll like catch things that maybe Mom didn't catch when she was working on something. I'm like, "Oh, Mom, did you see this?" She's like, "No, I did not." And then other times, and I'll want to kind of go ahead and see it first instead of kind of waiting for you guys to kind of look at it, because sometimes I'll tend to see it first instead of
the details.
You have to wait for us non-banker types to catch up a little bit on what you see that we might not see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've learned as a family to lean into that core value and to say, Adonai, can you help us here? Can you organize us? Can you proof this? Is there something that we're discussing for this family vacation that you need more information on? Will you research this for us? And Adonai is happy to do it because she's got a lot of it. So she oozes at that. And
So
it's a way
easy.
for us to value as well as to gain from her banker in our family.
This is going to sound like child labor, but it's not. But I will say that one of the first things, and we were teasing out what core values you were, because it was before you had a 5th grade reading level, was we kind of play the Would You Rather game. And this is a fun game that parents can play with their younger children who have not a 5th grade reading level to take the CVI. We would give you little tasks. And one of the things that we did was we had these huge receipt boxes to organize. And there was Mom and I had gotten behind in organizing the receipts into months. So we had them all in one huge pouch. And we just asked you, hey, what would this be like for you? We need to organize this. We can do it. It's going to take us forever. But would you like to organize the receipts based on the dates? And you before we could finish the sentence, you grabbed the envelope out of my hand and basically pushed me out of the way and said, I got this, Dad. I checked back with you about an hour in, and I was like, are you still enjoying this? You're like, I'm loving this. You did that for 2 hours straight. You finished something that would have taken us a lot longer than that.
And it was so much fun. I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, or let's even talk about Mom's closet.
I I use my children all the time for
Oh my
my
goodness.
closet.
We pay though. We
Let's
pay.
not,
we
let's not
get
talk
paid.
about my closet, but I will say I do like beauty. Nevi and I like to create and make things pretty, so we will tap into that together. Addie's beauty is super organized, so her books on her shelf are alphabetized. Mine are by color and just how it looks aesthetically. So it doesn't mean you can't be organized if you're not a banker. It just means the way you're organized is very different. And I have to just say that I'm the smallest builder in our family. And that can feel lonely sometimes because these three will be on a project and want to finish something before I've even thought about what the wisest way to do it is. I'm slower to action, and I know that can be frustrating for my family sometimes. I need to consider a lot of things, and honestly, people take a priority a lot of times when there's a task at hand. And so I might tell my daughters, hey, girls, I'm going to get this done for you. And it takes me 3 days and it takes Jeff an hour. So knowing that grace for in our family, I don't feel shame about it, but it is something I have to be aware of, knowing to honor the three in my family who are builders, to try to follow through on something a little quicker than maybe I naturally am wired to. And I have to shift over into my merchant to think about the people I love and who they are. And so, Addie, we have that in common of knowing we're the smaller of something in a family. And you might be listening and going, yes, I'm that way. But I think there's purpose in that. God's really intentional about who he puts together.
Yeah, it's not by chance, as we know. I mean, he gives us one another, and he spent so much time in the Word talking about the body of Christ. Not one person is all things, right? Jesus is the head, but man, we need some elbows here, we need some ankles, we need some eyeballs, we need some noses, and basically we need merchants, bankers, innovators, and builders. And each person is a unique combination of all four of those things. But there really are some people, a quarter of the planet probably is dominant banker, and same thing, another quarter is a dominant merchant, and so on and so forth. And it's a beautiful thing to learn to lean into each other in a healthy, interdependent way for each other's strengths, and not to see our minuses as weaknesses that we have to grow or improve in, because you could waste a lot of energy trying to be something you're not. And it's also not an excuse that we just say, look, I don't get to do this because I'm not this way. It's not that either. It's like, let's learn to lean into each other and honor each other's core values and accomplish things together and be the body of Christ. And we're trying to do that in our little family of four. And we're off to a good start, you guys. I love doing it with you.
Right? That's where you say yes.
You say
Right?
amen. You say amen,
Okay.
Dad.
You could just whoop, whoop. That works
Thanks,
too.
Debs.
All right. So one last question. Well, this is a hard part of a lot of families, especially sisters. There's comparison that goes on in families between siblings. And oftentimes we'll look at one sibling and go, oh gosh, they're so good at that. I wish I could do that. And sometimes even in family, like if you're a very athletic family and one person's not very athletic, sometimes people can be over, that person can feel left out, or the family's incredibly musical. That would be my family. And then there's me who's not. And so, I could take that as like, I'm not good enough. Or I can go, wow, look at the various gifts that God's given my family. How do you guys use your CVI? How has CVI helped you to work on not comparing? And when you do compare, when you feel that natural feeling, how do you guys help that feeling?
I think God is, I guess, because kind of helped me with that, realizing, oh, he made me this way and I shouldn't, or I don't need to compare myself with others because he made me this way for a reason. And he's helped me kind of see how he's been using me through my CVI. And so I don't feel the need to compare.
That's where we say, praise the Lord.
Yeah, but
Maybe.
that's because you've really gotten more comfortable in knowing your wiring, and you can appreciate the way he designed you. That's amazing, Addie. What about you, Nevi?
What about you?
I like being a merchant. And I guess it's just kind of like there's certain parts of me that are like, oh, I'm not as much banker as the rest of the family. And so, like, I can feel like, oh, I'm not detailed enough to be a part of this project. But my other strengths can help with that, too, because they don't have some of those. I mean, we're all different in good ways, but sometimes you have to, like, they need your help to be able to do certain things because they can't do it on their own. So
You're talking about being better together. Such wisdom. That's Nevi wisdom right there.
Yeah, Nevs.
She's talking about the fact that it is so normal to think, I don't have that. And then to realize, but I do have this and I can contribute. And so helping our kids continue to think that way, to thrive in their relationships with each other, in their relationships with us as mom and dad, in their friendships, in their community, in their classrooms. Yes, we talk about the core values a lot, and we actually use it in our day-to-day language. So let's close with that talk. Maybe mom and dad will start with an idea, but how might we use it in our everyday language? So I might say, Adonaiah, I really could use your banker builder right now. I'm feeling really overwhelmed by those dishes over there. Can you tackle them? She's looking at me because she's like, that's on my chore list. So how about the laundry? That one, I'm overwhelmed by that pile over there. Could you just tackle it for me? And Addie would say, sure, Mom. That's me saying I'm overwhelmed because my little builder is a 7 and there's a lot of tasks on my plate and I'm feeling overwhelmed.
And the banker in Addie wants to give and make sure that people have what they need. And you are so good, honey, at seeing people for what they need and wanting to do that. And your merchant then steps in and out of love wants to do that and make it easier for people. And it's a beautiful combination.
Give an example.
Yeah, another example might be this too, is like I'll say, hey, Nevs, on projects like I have already done, literally after this podcast, you and I are going to go outside. I invited you to learn how to use a gas-powered trimmer because I want to trim our plants. Now, the first thing that you said is like in the shape of animals, Dad. And that is such a merchant that has a vision for how to make our yard fun like Disneyland. But nope, not in animals. We're not doing that, but just rounded edges and corners. And you're probably good to do it with me for about 20 minutes or so. I don't want to do that too much or have you involved for too long because that you'll run out of steam on that. But we'll have some fun doing that together. And I'm going to love that. And you're going to love it for the time that we do it, as long as we do it for the right amount of time. And I'm excited. So that's a practical way.
I mean, in the morning, Addie has really curly hair, like really, really curly hair, and it's super pretty. And I have really straight hair. She's getting frustrated because she can't figure out how to do it in the morning sometimes. I can just give some space to her and she can cool down, and then I can come back in and be like, can I do my hair now? And she'll be like, okay, yeah. And then we can just have a nice morning from there.
It's a great discernment. Yeah.
I'm also thinking when Nevi is like in her merchant and I can tell that she really wants to play with me. And maybe I was in the middle of reading a really good part of the book and I am really not wanting to play with her, but I can see that it'll make her happy if I do. I can come up with a way where we can do it together and I'll be like, hey, Nevi, you want to play a game? Because I know that won't last a really long time. And allow Nevi to feel like I'm hanging out with her.
That's awesome.
So fun. This is so fun. I love it.
I'm proud of our family. We're on to it, guys. This is fun.
So we're going to wrap this up. I just wanted to say to anyone who doesn't have kids and is listening, you can apply all these principles to someone you're mentoring. If you've got nieces and nephews, if you are a teacher or you're a youth group leader, take some of these things, a mentor, and apply them into your day-to-day life. But if you're a parent, this is your homework assignment, is tonight at dinner, sit at the table and ask everybody to give their high and their low and something they learned. And observe how people are sharing. You're going to have the merchants telling fun stories, being goofy, jumping off track with a bunch of jokes. You'll have the bankers giving very detailed. The builder will be to the point. I was good here, not good here, done. And the innovator might need to tell you a lot of different things about the context of what they're going to tell you. They kind of tee up what they're going to tell you. So there's just so much you can observe from the dinner table. So that's your homework assignment. And if you're interested in the CVI, you can check it out on our website,
which is livingwholehearted.com. And there's a little icon in the upper right-hand corner that says take the CVI. And it's simple to do. You get your results in 10 minutes. It only costs just under $50. And there you go.
Well, we're so grateful for our guests, Addie and Nevi, And
Parents, you should.
it's been so fun to get to chat with you guys, and I can't wait till the next time we get to do this.
Love you, girls.
Love you.
This podcast is powered by Living Wholehearted, Courageous Girls, and the Christian Parenting Podcast Network. Thank you for joining us in this critical movement of shrinking our integrity gaps between what we preach and live.